Resolved. My first year of Resolve was 2010. It was actually a year of just be able to fellowship with other church members going down there. Just my first conference when I became a believer.
I wanted to share my experience with Resolve. It has a special place in my heart. I went to the very first Resolve conference, and I went down there by myself. At the time, I was going out to a church in Berkeley, and in my heart, I was looking for a church a little closer that I could be going to. And I went to the very first Resolve, and then the two people that I just happened to sit next to were two people from River City Grace. They encouraged me to come visit and everything, and so that's how I actually got to River City Grace. So it all happened through Resolve. God used Resolve, and it was very, very big in my life. And I've been at Resolve or River City ever since.
Another thing is that it is so refreshing to be in a room filled with students, filled with people around my age, and to be reminded that God is really working mightily in our generation. Sometimes it's hard to see that when we're watching the world and seeing that there's not a whole lot of people that seem to be around us taking their faith so seriously. But when I watch the preaching and I watch the audience responding to the preaching, them nodding at difficult truths about sovereignty and the elect and God's wrath, it's amazing to see my generation embracing that, accepting that, and being excited about God. And to be in that room and worshiping with my peers.
The year I went, the topic was Jesus Christ, and I think it really impacted me in the way that I thought of Christ and the way that I maybe had been thinking about Christ. It really, the way that Christ was presented, it just made me realize how small I was kind of making Christ, and how many more facets to Christ that I didn't know.
The greatest benefit of the gospel isn't forgiveness of sin ultimately. It's not deliverance from hell ultimately. But it's the best benefit that we get from the gospel is that we get God himself. We get to be with God. That's why forgiveness is so important and so such a blessing to us, is because it removes sin and gets our sin out of the way to be with God. And that if we want all these side benefits more than we want God himself, we don't understand the gospel. And that was very impactful for me, just in refining my understanding of the gospel and of what God is doing in the world. And I think it really refined my personal evangelism, my focus for that, the way I pray, the way I worship, just in knowing better God's God-centeredness and why Christ brings us near to God. And I think it really helped shape my missions desires as well. So I think that was really kind of a milestone moment that I experienced at Resolve.
All the guys just preached unabashedly just about the sovereignty of God, and it was, couldn't digest it at the time.
I encourage everyone to go.